I never thought a bond so honest, so deeply rooted in something unspoken, could stir something inside me I couldn't control. My name is Emily Carson. I've always been the kind of person who keeps her emotions in check, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. Life was simpler that way. Predictable. But nothing about what happened with Mason Carter was predictable. It was the kind of thing that started quietly, without fireworks, without intention. And yet it changed everything I thought I knew about myself. Mason entered my life when I was 19. I had just started working part-time at a community art center while attending college. He was a volunteer instructor there, a few years older than me, but not by much. 23, maybe 24. His calm demeanor, paired with a smile that seemed to soften any room, made him a natural with the kids and teens who came in for art therapy classes. From the very beginning, our connection was easy. We laughed at the same things, shared a love for painting, and found ourselves staying late more often than not, cleaning up and talking about everything from music to books to our pasts. Our friendship was genuine. There was never a moment where I felt like he crossed a line, or like I was in danger of crossing one myself. It was just comforting. He made me feel seen in a way most people didn't. Maybe that was the first crack in the wall I'd built around my feelings. Because even as we grew closer, even as our conversations got deeper and more personal, I told myself that our bond was based in trust, in shared interests, not in something as unpredictable as desire. That illusion began to crumble one rainy Thursday evening. We had finished our last session for the day, and a storm had rolled in fast, soaking the streets and making it impossible for me to bike home. Mason offered to drive me. I hesitated for a second, not because I didn't trust him, but because a voice in the back of my mind whispered that this ride might feel different. Still, I agreed. In his truck, the windows fogged slightly, the scent of paint and rain clinging to our clothes. The silence wasn't awkward. Never was with Mason. But that night the quiet buzzed with something new. Something neither of us acknowledged. I remember stealing a glance at him as he focused on the road. His jawline sharp under the dim streetlights. I hated the way my stomach flipped. I hated that I noticed things like the way his hands gripped the steering wheel, or the way he hummed along to the soft classic rock playing on the radio. He dropped me off and waited until I got inside before driving away like always. But I didn't sleep that night. My mind kept circling the moment when our hands had accidentally brushed as I grabbed my bag from his passenger seat. That tiny, meaningless contact had set something off in me that I couldn't shake. I tried to ignore it. Days passed. We continued working together. We joked and painted side by side. But my laughter felt hollow now, covered in the weight of something I couldn't confess. I started analyzing everything he said. Was that a compliment or just him being kind? Did his smile linger a little longer when he looked at me? Or was I imagining it because I wanted it so badly? Then came the night of the annual art showcase. Everyone from the community center was there, and I had spent weeks helping Mason organize the event. He looked great, dressed a bit nicer than usual, hair slicked back. His usual hoodie traded for a button-down shirt. I felt ridiculous for noticing, but I did. And when he approached me with a glass of sparkling cider and said, "You look amazing tonight, Em," I felt my face flush in a way I couldn't hide. "Thanks," I managed to say. "You clean up pretty well too." He laughed, that warm, effortless sound I'd come to crave, and we stood together, watching the people mill around, admiring the students' artwork. At one point, a woman who had been chatting with Mason earlier came over and kissed him on the cheek before leaving. I told myself it was nothing, but the pang of jealousy in my chest said otherwise. After the event, we stayed behind to clean up. Just the two of us. Again. The room was dim, the only light coming from the exit signs and a few low lamps we hadn't turned off yet. He was stacking chairs when I finally blurted it out. "I think I have feelings for you." I hadn't planned to say it. The words came out like a breath I'd been holding in for months. Mason froze. Slowly, he turned to face me, his expression unreadable. "Emily, I know we're just friends. Sorry. I shouldn't have said that." He put the chairs down and walked over. "No," he said softly. Don't apologize. My heart pounded. I looked at him, trying to read his face, searching for any sign that I hadn't just ruined everything. I felt something too, he admitted, eyes fixed on mine. But I didn't want to risk what we have. That moment should have felt like relief, like validation. Instead, it felt like standing on the edge of something dangerous. Because once you say it out loud, once the truth is shared, there's no taking it back. We didn't kiss. We didn't do anything impulsive. But everything changed after that night. The air between us shifted. We started texting more, meeting up outside the center. We tried to keep it innocent. But emotions aren't easily tamed once acknowledged. I wish I could say we figured it out, navigated the blurry line between friendship and something more without losing ourselves. But things got complicated. Mason was offered a full-time job in another city, a huge opportunity he'd been working toward for years. He didn't want to leave me behind, but he couldn't turn it down either. We talked about trying long distance, about seeing where things went. But in the end, we both knew the timing was wrong. Our bond had been pure, built on trust and quiet understanding. But when feelings got involved, that purity turned into something messier, harder to hold on to. The day he left, we sat in the parking lot behind the center, the same place where so many of our memories lived. He held my hand and said, "Maybe in another life we'd have figured this out." "Maybe," I whispered, trying not to cry. He kissed my forehead, and then he was gone. Months have passed. We still talk sometimes, but not like before. I see his name light up on my phone and feel that familiar ache in my chest. Our bond was real. Still is. But I couldn't control my feelings, and in doing so, I changed everything. Do I regret telling him? Well, because some things are meant to be said, even if they don't end the way we hope. Loving Mason taught me that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's a kind of strength. It showed me that emotions can't always be boxed up and ignored. Sometimes the most beautiful connections are also the most painful. And even if it didn't become what I secretly wished it would, our bond remains one of the most meaningful parts of my life. I'll carry it with me always.